A very good evening and welcome to the show. I have with me this evening an individual who is a celebrated war hero who needs no introduction to Sri Lankans and the world over. He is none other than Field Marshal South Fonseca. A very good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Field Marshal, in your opinion, what is good governance?
Good governance must ensure the justice to the people, democracy to the people, and equal rights of the people must be available. Then obviously a corruption-free situation where the government administration and the ministries, everybody must run without political interference, and the people should not be subjected to the political interference. They must feel living freely in a country without undue pressure, and they must have the protection from the law of the country. Basically, that is the framework of a good government.
Field Marshal, on the 8th of January, people voted in for change and we saw a new president taking over from the old president. Is there good governance in practice in Sri Lanka today?
We can see the president, prime minister being the leaders of the present government, which has come into existence as outcome of January 8th victory and also subsequently 17th August victory. They are making an attempt. They are really interested to make the change. They want to ensure that the things fall in line, things are in order, unlike the situation which was prevailing prior to January 8th. But there are certain limitations, obviously, looking at it practically, from the practical angles. If you take government officials, if you take those who are involved in the government machineries, not only the politicians, or even I think bulk of the politicians, they were working under a different culture in this country. So now is a case of President and Prime Minister trying to change the political culture and also bring about huge changes to the administration in the country.
It's nearly 9 months, to be very precise, 10 months following the 8th of January, and we saw change happening. However, not concrete measures are in place to apprehend the corrupt, because you said, Field Marshal, that ensuring of corruption-free country is important in good governance. However, is that in practice currently? Is that in place?
Yeah, so we have given a start. The beginning has taken place, but I strongly believe, even in you were talking about action against the corruption and the action being taken against various culprits, those who committed offences. But we have a problem to face with at the moment.
What is the problem?
Because even in the judiciary, most probably, the legal sector, there are those who were working with the previous regime, who most probably does not appreciate the good governance, who most probably has been very happy with the previous situation which are prevailing. So it might take a little time for the new people to come, to get rid of the corrupt people who are in the field already.
Field Marshal, did they make pledges that cannot be fulfilled?
No, it can be fulfilled. You can't say it cannot be fulfilled, because there are many other countries in which what we have promised to the people is already in practice. But only thing, making the change from the situation which was almost extreme situation, making the difference, being about to change, you can't do it overnight. It might take little time.
How long are we talking about?
Because you have to do it gradually. Suddenly you can't start sacking each and every man, everybody in the government sector, in the administration. So it will take time, basically.
Let's talk about the recent issues surrounding avant-garde, Field Marshal. What have avant-garde done wrong, in your opinion? Have they violated the firearm ordinance, or is it the monopoly which is against the constitution that is taking place? You are well versatile with the firearm ordinance.
Yeah,
as well.
I think both. There are a lot of violations in that. To start with, this particular the field, this maritime security field, with the blessings of the previous the Secretary Defence, and also the person who was the chairman of the Lanka, the security organization, they have given exclusive rights to the avant-garde company, and depriving others of that the privilege of continuing with similar operations, getting involved in that profession. So avant-garde was given the single-handed rights and the authority. So they had taken the law into their hand. Even the Lanka has not followed the rules and regulations. And now you find the Minister of Defence trying to wash the hands off. Finally, there is a situation which has arisen right now that no one needs to take the responsibility. But you can see definitely what they did was not in line with the rules and regulations, the law of the country. There have been huge violations, and finally they have committed so many offences, not only violating the firearms ordinance, but also I think the illegal money, the money laundering. It has involved a number of it has violated number of the rules and regulations.
You said the Defence Ministry currently is trying to wash their hands off. Does that mean that someone in the higher echelons are trying to protect avant-garde?
No, I believe I have made some comments even in the past. I think from the very beginning, at least a couple of politicians, they were taking money from avant-garde. We got some reliable information. So they were trying to give some sort of a protection to cover up certain issues affecting the avant-garde operation. So therefore, I don't think the process was continuing at the beginning, but we made a big hue and cry about it. Now the people have started, people have become inquisitive about it. Even the Prime Minister, President, they have said that they want to conduct fair investigations. So now there is some steps taken in the right direction, but obviously at the beginning the actions are not taken on the right line.
Can we expect justice if action is not taken in the right line?
Now everybody is waiting to see what will happen about this issue, because I think the whole country is now aware of the situation. Many people know that there is something wrong with this whole, about the handling of this issue. So I think since President has given a word, the Prime Minister also has made some comments. Now that they have to show the results, they have to do it transparently and show the results, take action against them.
The alarm was raised when the BMICH storage facility of Lanka was discovered by the police. My question to you is, Field Marshal, was there two private armies in Sri Lanka at this time?
Yeah, but the operation they have been conducting is in violation of the law of this country, rules and regulations. They have had unauthorized weapons. This whole armory has been basically a unauthorized thing because it has not been in existence as per the law of the country. Even, for example, Lanka chairman signing agreement with avant-garde and giving him exclusive right to conduct this operation is illegal. He had no business to sign an agreement like that. Of course, if he had the blessings of the Secretary Defence Ministry, then the Defence Ministry must take that responsibility. I heard one day, I think, Suhada Gamlat, Solicitor General, he came for Sirasa program, if I am right, and he was trying to say that because it's a government organization, that we have to accept the fact that they had the indirect right to maintain an armory like that, or to give the okay for avant-garde and Lanka to sign an agreement like that. But that is not correct. Just because you are a government organization or the department or organization coming under Defence Ministry, nobody had the right to go against the law and sign any agreements.
Who
and
is at
violate
fault?
them.
Is it Rakna Sri Lanka, Avantgarde, or the former defense establishment?
All three. All three as together, they all together have violated the law of the country.
Why isn't action being taken? If you are saying that violations have taken place, why isn't concrete action being taken right now? Because we saw at the Galle Magistrates Court, the Attorney General's Department officials saying that there is no case. However, a few days ago, they again filed charges against Avantgarde. What is going on?
Yeah, that's why even we made the hue and cry at the beginning, because when the Attorney General said that they cannot frame charges, file indictments, we did not believe it, we did not agree with that. Obviously, they have violated the law. Definitely, the action has to be taken, and that is a very serious offense basically. These are not very simple issues what you can just forget about and look the other side and wait. These are very serious issues.
Is someone from the government trying to protect Avantgarde?
Yeah, as I said earlier, there are some ministers who are interested. There are some ministers who are supposed to have got bribed by the Avantgarde. They are supposed to have got huge amounts of money. So they were trying to hush it up at the beginning. Some people are behind it. Most probably after we started making hue and cry, then the president came to know about what was going on. The prime minister also realized that there is some problem here. So after that, now they have got, they have given commitment. They have got involved in this. Now we have to wait and see what will happen.
What is Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca's role in this now? Is he going to make a hue and cry until justice is meted out?
Yeah, definitely. I was the first to start shouting about it, to tell you some more information about it. Soon after presidential election, one of the Avantgarde company spoke to me on telephone. He was trying to give me promises to say that he was going to finance my election campaign in the general election. Well, he was in the army. I know him. I had known him as army officer long ago. The moment he mentioned that to me, I said, I don't want you to finance my election campaign. If you are really interested to support my the party, you can try and help me out to put up my party office, I said. Then again I told him, you can do whatever you want, but still, if you are responsible for any offences committed, if there are any allegations against you, I will be the first to stand against you. From that day onwards, he never spoke to me.
So you were also being bribed somewhat?
Yeah, he indirectly tried.
And did you take the bribe?
No. After I told him that, of course, any donations coming from the correct people, we accept, we are politicians. If somebody is trying to help me to put up my office, but when I told him, your donations can be welcome, but in case there are allegations against you, I knew that he had few corrupt deals here and there. I said, I will be the first to stand against you and make hue and cry. So that day onwards, he never contacted me.
You spoke about presidential elections, Field Marshal. 2010 presidential election. When you were defeated, were you attempting to stage a coup?
If I wanted to, if I had that psychology, if I had that, I was a man of that nature, I could have done it before retiring from the military. Or soon after I won the war. I could have done it, I would have executed that in 24 hours. I had the capability, but I didn't have that psychology. I am not brought up in that manner. But these people, they were trying to look around to say something in order to take revenge from me, to fix me somewhere, put me in a jail or something. So they made up a story and said that we are trying to stage a coup. Stage a coup with whom? With the people who were with me, the 80 soldiers I had for my security. Can you plan a coup with 80 soldiers? And I was working during the campaign throughout with Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, Karu Jayasuriya, the other opposition political leaders. We never discussed any military matters among us, other than talking and discussing about democratic politics.
2015 presidential elections. Did the former regime try to forcefully take over the victory achieved by President Sirisena? I want your opinion on this, Field Marshal.
Yeah, definitely yes, because We had all the information. We had documental proof to say that they unduly they deployed the military. Over 2,000 soldiers were brought to Colombo from other areas, operational area, north and east. They were handpicked. Then they were deployed under certain senior officers who were handpicked. Army commander who was there had no say over it. He, like a puppet, he just cooperated with them. And specially selected officer was in charge of them. And all that was done without the approval of the police, without a request from the police, without a request or approval from the elections commissioner. So the president or the defense minister or defense secretary or the army commander has no right to deploy military like that during election time, unless the request comes from the police or unless the election commissioner decides on that.
Why
so
do you think
illegally they deploy the military?
Why do you think, Field Marshal, the former president did not execute that plan? Because you said, as a former army commander, you could have staged a coup in 24 hours. He is the commander-in-chief. Why did you feel that he did not execute this plan, if he had a plan, as you suggest?
When the results was moving in the other direction, when he realized that he was losing, everybody realized, including the service commanders. I don't think the Air Force commander and the Navy commander had anything to do with this deployment. The Inspector General of Police had nothing to do with that deployment. He never approved that. So in that night, he summoned the Attorney General, he summoned the Chief Justice also, I think, Mohan Piris. He summoned the service commanders middle of the night. And obviously from what we hear, he was trying to get their blessings to create a situation and stay in power. He had been asking them whether whether there is any possibility of he continuing the balance 2 years, even with the results, has said that he has lost. So what we hear is the Inspector General of Police, he has, I think he was not in agreement with that. He had not cooperated. He disagreed with these various ideas. So that, I think, made people feel jittery, and that deterred Rajapaksa and his the other, especially the army commander and chief of defense staff who was there. Those people going ahead with that plan as per their plan.
The final stages of the conflict, Field Marshal, has come into great question by the international community. You saw many reports being filed at the UNHRC sessions, resolutions being brought forward. Do you think that the soldiers committed any war crimes?
No, soldiers did not commit war crimes. Army as a whole did not commit any war crimes. Because I had the personal control over the conduct of the war. I kept the division directly under my command. It was not going through the normal chain of command as per the normal deployment of the military. The division commanders were directly answerable to me. I gave direct orders to them. Then the brigade commanders, I was personally supervising what they were doing and the executions and their deployments on the field. So I was fully in the picture about what was going on. So army as a whole, or the type of military operations he conducted, never catered for the war crimes or never left room for the war crimes. But if somebody can say that there were crimes committed here and there, if they can come out with credible evidence, then you will have to find out who are the individuals involved in that. If there have been, I command 200,000 army, if there has been a handful of soldiers who have committed an odd offense here and there, for that you can't blame the army.
Was the former defense secretary giving instructions above you? You said that you were the one who was handling the war personally. The former defense secretary gave any instructions above you, Field Marshal?
No, he did not give instructions through proper channels. As you say, if he gave instructions above me, then the instructions have to go through me. But he said that he conducted operation. He said that he gave instructions. He's saying that. So, but now there are complaints, allegations that there are about 1 or 2 incidents people are trying to highlight, identify and say that some incidents have taken place. So if he had given instruction without my knowledge, and then if there are allegations against him, or if there are pinpoint incidents which have taken place, then he will have to take responsibility. He will have to explain and say whether he gave any instructions or not. If he gave any instructions without keeping me in the picture, without going through me, the final outcome has been wrong. If there has been any illegal outcome at then he must take responsibility.
You were not even in the country during the final stage of the conflict, Field Marshal. You were overseas.
Yes, 5 days. You know, from 11th May to 17th May evening, 5 days I was out. But when I left to China, I took my operational staff with me. I took my communications with me. I took my maps and charts and everything with me. The same way I command the operation from Colombo, my office. I was talking to the field commander 3 times a day, and I controlled the operation from there. On the other hand, after about 19th April, we had pushed the terrorists into the beachfront, that land stretch between the lagoon and the sea, 2.5 kilometers wide, 15 kilometers long. After they were pushed into that area, there was no operation for generals to command, basically. After that, the operation was controlled and conducted by sergeants and corporals, clearing from north to south that stretch. It took about 1 month, about 200 meters every day. It was a corporal's and sergeant's job. So last 5 days, because I was little away, nobody can come and say I conducted the operation in absence of the army commandos.
The Paranagama and Udulagama report both suggest that there were issues into certain issues that they investigated and requires further investigations. And this is what the UNHRC resolution also suggests, that investigations need to be conducted. However, you're off the footing that no war crimes were committed. Is that so, Field Marshal?
Yeah, I think they have identified certain, they have mentioned certain issues. Like, I think, for example, they have said someone was arrested at a checkpoint and that man is missing at the moment. So likewise, certain incident they have highlighted. But what I say, if they have credible evidence, now say, right, a man was abducted, arrested at a checkpoint, now he is missing. Then if they have the evidence to say that it happened at this time, at this location, and of course they will have to give little more details, because now I don't know whether in the field there have been a lot of fighting going on, the defenses getting destroyed, the checkpoints getting destroyed, the terrorists overrunning our bunker line. So if there have been a checkpoint, whether the documents which were there, whether you can go into details and trace those documents, because just saying a man was taken into custody at a checkpoint is not enough. Then we should be able to find out who is the man who was on duty at that time was. Likewise, if there is a way of finding out details, then if the credible evidence is there, obviously there is no reason why we should not conduct the inquiries.
The Udulagam report and the Paranagam report, along with the UNHRC resolution, does not suggest in any way that the Sri Lanka army used chemical weapons during the final stages of the conflict. However, you were in operation. You never had chemical weapons.
We never had them. We never had that luxury in our military, the powerful weapon system, because they're very expensive. The military like ours can never afford to have those things.
We are fighting a brutal terrorist organization.
But we fought with the basic weapons, most probably. Very basic direct firing weapons and very basic indirect firing weapons. We never had any high-tech weapon systems.
Now I want to drag your attention to the son of Prabhakaran, where we saw footage on Channel 4 which suggests that he was with the army custody in the presence of the military. What happened, Field Marshal?
No, talking about Prabhakaran's family, we had information only about Prabhakaran and elder son. We found their bodies. His wife and daughter, we had no information. We had no clue, but I saw KP subsequently had given an interview and said they got killed in the frontal areas, front lines. I think a week or two before the war was over. This child, we had no information about him. we never arrested or we had no information about his whereabouts even. If they had any news about him, by chance, if he had fallen into the hands of security forces, they would have definitely kept me informed. Nobody is going to keep it a secret from me if Prabhakaran's son was arrested or something. When I saw those two pictures, which was in the, I think in the internet, there one picture where the small fellow is in a bunker, covering himself with the sarong, a lungi or something. That bunker, to me, it does not look like, by looking at that bunker, nobody can say this was army bunker. Because the LTT and the army both had similar bunkers, the locks and the gunny bags. Then he is covering himself with the lungi. That type of cloth is not available with the military. So obviously I think that he was, that picture was taken when he was inside the LTT bunker. The soldiers are standing next to him, somebody in uniform. That uniform is not the type of uniform what we wear in the army. To me it looks like Indian Army camouflage uniform. So the LTT had the Indian Army camouflage uniforms in them. So it does not prove that, indicate to me, to my conscience, that he was in the custody of the military. Then his picture where he is fallen on the ground with some bullet marks, they say, on him. So Prabhakaran and his family and everybody, last few days, they were trying to go through our defense lines in a number of places. 16th night, they came across the lagoon. They were trying to break through our lines and go into a jungle, where about 75 terrorists were killed. We recovered 75 bodies, and so many others would have perished in the lagoon. So we don't know whether this chap, this small fellow, got shot somewhere else and got killed anywhere, any other the location previously. A picture can be taken whether he died in our hands or whether anywhere else in the battlefield.
Do you endorse the UNHRC resolution where it says that technical assistance will be required by Sri Lanka to further investigate matters during the final stages of the conflict? As a soldier, as the army commander, do you endorse this resolution?
Technical assistance, foreign assistance.
Foreign assistance.
Yeah, what I think is it's something like this. Since there are allegations, there are interested parties who are pointing the finger at the government and at the military. And the UN resolution, then there are foreign countries who have been talking about these charges. So best thing is to have an inquiry, a very transparent inquiry.
International investigation, is that what you're trying to say?
No, I will recommend. What I agree is, in fact today we sent our recommendations to President also. After the last all-party conference, we agreed to send our recommendations. The inquiry has to be something of a local mechanism, but the observers and advisors, getting foreign observers and advisors, is good to make it transparent.
Will you stand before a trial, a domestic process in Sri Lanka?
Anytime. I am taking the responsibility for the conduct of the ground operation. It was my plan, my orders, my training, my tactics. So I will take responsibility. Therefore, I am ready to go for inquiry.
Field Marshal, in the year 2010, even during the election campaigns, you said that you were against family rule. You denounced family rule in Sri Lanka. However, I want to drag your attention to just prior to August 17th general elections. You contested from Colombo. Your son-in-law contested from Colombo.
No.
Your son-in-law did not contest.
No,
Donald
if you are referring,
is not your son-in-law.
He divorced. He
But contested from your party.
Yeah, but he's not my son-in-law anymore.
Your wife contested from the Kampha district. Family rule in play? Is that what we saw?
No, we were talking about family rule during the last regime. What you call nepotism. That is where a family control all the affairs in the country. Whether they are economic or whether they are in any other field, everything was in the hands of Rajapaksas. The finances of the country they control. 80% of the finances, I think, in this country was controlled by Rajapaksas and brothers and fathers and sons. So that amounts to nepotism. But my wife contesting, my party is a new party. we don't have much of choice. We don't have too many outstanding people who can contest, strong characters. So my Gampa district candidates, they made a request to us, they made a request to the party to get my wife to be a candidate in Gampa district. They thought that that will be additional strength to them. And my wife flatly refused. She was dead against that. Even I was against that. But finally we couldn't say no to them, because their request was so strong and they were never giving up. Finally we agreed, not because that we were very keen to send my wife to parliament. But I will say something like this also. When you are talking about family rule, it does not mean that if somebody in a family is into politics, it deprives others in the family coming to politics. For example, I have no right in a democratic country to order my wife not to come to politics. If she is keen to come to politics, I have no control over it.
Are you a dictator, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca?
I was, you can say I was a dictator in the army, because the army runs on the hierarchical system.
Autocratic leadership style.
Yes, army commander he has to take responsibility for everything. His brain will work and he will plan, he will give orders, lot of things. But in politics, I am not dictator. I am trying to do everything to as per the request and the wishes of the people, basically.
You had many people around you when you were released from the prisons. Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, I want to drag your attention to what happened, what transpired during that time. You had individuals like parliamentarian Tiran Alas, you had individuals like parliamentarian Arjun Ranatunga. Both of them stood out, did not support you afterwards. They were in your party. Are you not a dictator?
Because you mentioned the names, I am compelled to say what happened. Arjun Ranatunga was my party number 2. But when I was sent to jail, he used to visit me once in 2 weeks during the first 2 months. After that, he used to visit me once in 4 months. So I can't run a party. I am in the jail. I have my political interests outside. I can't do it, control it, coordinate it with a second in command who will come and see me once in 4 months. So there are problems like that. Tiran Alas used to come and see me about once a month. But when I came out, we registered a party. Even before we registered in the party, before that we had no party actually. We were only a group in alliance with JVP. There was no party for us. In that group, Tiran Alas was working as the secretary. After I came out of the jail, there were some UNPS who wanted to join me. For example, people like, they were coming and having discussions with me. Most of the time, like Shira, Tilaka, Maitri, Gunaratna, Ashoka Basing, they were in and out of my office. They were trying to come and join us. Tiran Alas disagreed with them. He said that he was not going to work with me if I was going to take these people in. So he was getting excited and he kept himself away from all the activities in the party. Of course, we had not come to any concrete agreements with those people who were interested. But this person was dead against that. He totally kept away from the party activities. That is how he went. Not because I was a dictator. So Arjuna Ranatunga left because I had given a promise to Palitevara Peruma. When I come out of the prison, my first visit will be to Palitevara Peruma's electorate in Kalutara. Because Palith used to come and see me 3 times a week, being a UNP MP. So because I went to his electorate, my first visit, Arjuna Ranatunga fell against me. Because he was from Kalutara district. He did not agree with me visiting Palitevara Peruma. There are some small petty issues like that. Not because I was a dictator.
Provincial councillors are also, who contested from your party, are moving out somewhat. We had 3 provincial councillors taking an order from the Court of Appeal yesterday, Field Marshal, saying that their removal from the party should be held at the moment.
Yeah, the decision of the Court of Appeal, I don't agree with that. As per my conscience, I had the right to express myself in a democracy. One reason what the Court of Appeal had given, was the main reason. They had said one of these MPs had filed a petition saying, one of these councillors had filed a petition saying the party constitution was not approved at the party convention. But as per the constitution, only any amendments and changes will have to be approved at the party convention. The constitution is approved and agreed by the election commissioner even when you make application to register the party. So at that time the party is not formed. So how can you get a party constitution approved by the convention? So this was a reason given by the appeal court also, the panel, president of the appeal court. So we disagree with that. There were some various other reasons given, and they rejected our decision to expel these people. That decision was rejected by the appeal court by giving series of reasons like this.
You all have a Politburo in your party which decides on course of action.
Of course, I also want to mention all the MPs who joined, who left the party. They left the party prior to the presidential election. They took money and went and worked for Mahinda Rajapaksa. They all left at that time.
Field Marshal Fonseca, are you sad that you were not able to even win a seat this time around at the August 17th elections?
Yeah, definitely we are sad. We were shocked over that outcome because we expected the people, at least some people in this country, to understand what we were trying to say. We were trying to say that the political culture has to change, where the people go to politicians to get a job. People have to go and beg behind politicians to get a school for a child. We said this political culture has to change. These MPs and the politicians giving jobs, we have to stop in this country. That has to be stopped. You have to apply if there is a vacancy. Based on qualification, you must get your job. But today is the other way. So the other thing we said, don't start voting for people just because they are coming from a particular party. That's why at the end of the election we saw very corrupt people, those who are in the jail and those who have earned money with the illicit brew or something. They were getting the majority votes and going to parliament. So we were telling the people on our stage, don't vote for the people just because they come from a particular party, but try to vote for the suitable people. That's why we went on a different campaign. We knew that there was a danger of losing because we knew the people were getting divided into two factions. One to bring Mahinda Rajapaksa as Prime Minister, other faction to bring Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe as Prime Minister. So we knew that the floating votes we had with us can move easily in one direction. The danger was there. But we expected people to listen to us also. At least if we had a couple of MPs, we would have raised the voice in the parliament also. But people flatly rejected what we were trying to tell them and voted only to select the Prime Minister. And they totally disregarded our arguments and our principles. Over that we were shocked, not because we could not go to parliament. My not going to parliament is no problem for me. Nobody going from my party to parliament was not a big issue. But that the different type of voice we were trying to raise is not heard in the parliament now. So we are not the loser, the people are the loser.
Will the people of Sri Lanka continue to reject a party which has a military background, which is your party? Will they continue to reject it?
How do you say the party has a military background? I have a military background.
You are the leader of the party and the direction of the party also.
Yeah, but then you can't brand it as, now if you say, if a school teacher comes as the leader of the party, are you trying to say this party has a school background? Or if a businessman comes as the leader of a party, you can't say this party has a business background. I don't agree with that argument.
So people
I was in the military.
The people will have faith in your party in the future elections.
Yeah, in many other countries, those who actually build their countries, in many countries, those leaders have come from the military. Sometimes the military leader is somebody who, somebody about him the nation should not be scared of. The military leader should be able to do something better than a normal man at times. So people must realize that.
Field Marshal, in an interview with The Guardian, you said that you have no intention to become the president or the prime minister of this country, and you would step down from politics any time.
Yeah, if these present parties, two major parties, if they take the country on the right direction, as you said, the people are not contented at the moment, not very happy. They think the expectations are not being met with. But if these two parties, the president and the prime minister, give the leadership, if they take the country on the right direction, I will resign from politics. I will go home and relax and wait without any politics.
What is the way forward, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseka? Sri Lanka 2020, where do you see Sri Lanka?
Of course, if depends on how successful the president and the prime minister are going to be. That's a challenge on them. It's a huge challenge what they are confronted with. They need a lot of guts and courage to go ahead with the people's expectation. They have to take very strong decisions, make huge differences, and be ruthless at times, be very strong-headed at times, do all that, and change the present prevailing situation in this country. If they can do, if they have the courage to do that, the country will end up to a right place by 2020.
Whose side are you in? Is it the president or the prime minister?
At the moment, I am toeing the line with both of them.
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseka, thank you very much for joining us despite your demanding schedule. Pleasure was all mine today.